about the fact that you guys are sticking with the status quo, or Kevin's sticking with the status quo, and continuing to go with Dylan instead of turning it over to Shedeur?
Quarterback direction has nothing to do with me. I'm worried about the defense and us giving up the points that we did and the first downs we did. Now, who we stick with the quarterback is up to.
Like, subscribe, and hit that bell.
Myles Garrett is feeling the regret after the Browns' blowout loss to the Jets, especially with people saying he didn't step up for Shedeur Sanders. Fans are now asking the big question: did Myles make a mistake by staying quiet when the team needed a leader to defend their quarterback? Or was he right to stay calm and let things unfold without adding pressure or drama?
I think it's actually BS for Myles Garrett, a leader of the team, to not keep it a buck, call out Kevin Stefanski, call out that trash, I'm about to say more, I can't say on YouTube, quarterback, and just keep it a buck, man. We know they need Shedeur Sanders. He was one of the ones that was telling Shedeur Sanders that he was needed, and now all of a sudden he says it's up to Kevin Stefanski. Makes no sense. These players are a lot softer.
Myles Garrett's reaction after the Jets game was exactly what the moment needed: honest, direct, and professional. He didn't blame teammates or try to start drama, but he pointed straight at where the problem really is: Kevin Stefanski. When Myles said the quarterback decision has nothing to do with him, he made it clear that the coaching staff controls everything, not the players. And Stefanski continues to stick with Dillon Gabriel even though the offense keeps falling apart. That's on the coach, plain and simple. It takes guts for a star player like Myles to say something real without making things worse. He focuses on the defense and leaves the quarterback problem to Stefanski. Most fans agree with Myles here. They see his answer as mature and fair, no wild takes, just the truth. People are tired of watching the Browns struggle and looking for someone to blame. But Myles reminds everyone the mistakes are coming from the top. Stefanski chooses the quarterback, calls the plays, and directs the team. If those choices are wrong, the players can only do so much. Still, this raises a lot of questions. How long will Stefanski keep ignoring the call to put Shedeur Sanders in? How many more losses will it take before the coaching staff finally changes the plan? If the team's stars won't publicly challenge the coach, who will? And how long will fans accept the same problems week after week? Some fans are frustrated that Myles didn't call out Stefanski louder. They expected him to be more direct and defend Shedeur, who many people believe deserves a real shot. Instead, he stayed quiet about the quarterback issue, which some view as avoiding responsibility. These fans miss the old-school leaders who said exactly what needed to be said. Today, players seem more careful, maybe too careful, and it feels like nobody wants to challenge bad decisions. The frustration grows because the Browns keep repeating the same mistakes. Shedeur looks like the better option, but Stefanski keeps choosing Gabriel, who still can't spark the offense. Fans want leaders like Myles to push for change, not watch silently. Without that leadership, it feels like the team is stuck. Why won't anyone stand up and say what everyone sees? Is it fear, loyalty, or just not wanting drama? Until someone speaks up, the Browns may keep losing. And right now it's clear the coaching more than the players is holding the team back. The Browns and Jets matched up in a game between two struggling teams. But even with New York missing key players and barely producing any offense, the Browns still lost. Cleveland outgained the Jets 278 to 169 yards and held them to only one offensive touchdown. Yet somehow the Browns still came up short. How do you dominate on paper and still lose on the field? How do you allow two special teams touchdowns against a team that couldn't move the ball? What does that say about the coaching, preparation, and decision-making? The offense once again looked lost. Gabriel missed throws, hesitated on anything deep, and took 6 sacks behind an offensive line that couldn't protect him. His decisions got worse and killed the Browns' momentum. And still, Stefanski won't make a change. Meanwhile, Shedeur waits, ready to bring energy and a new look. How long will the Browns accept slow, predictable play? When will Stefanski admit that Shedeur is the better choice? Nothing will improve until the right quarterback gets his chance. Next
was back in the day, I can tell you guys that for sure. Back in the day, we would have guys that really would lead the team, keeping it a buck as far as what answering certain questions. You know, you had players like Marshawn Lynch back in the day would come to the podium and say, I'm here just so I don't get fined. I mean, you know, now all of a sudden you got some of these players like Jerry Jeudy, Myles Garrett. They just say all the political things or political answers that sounds good for the team's sake. But I mean, at this point, what are you actually saving for the Cleveland Browns? They are continually losing games every single week.
Back then, players didn't hold back. They said what needed to be said, even if it caused chaos. Guys like Marshawn Lynch didn't care about giving safe answers. They told the truth, because that's what leaders did. Now players like Jerry Jeudy and Myles Garrett stick to polite, careful responses that sound nice but don't move anything forward. What exactly are they protecting? The truth or Stefanski's broken system? The Browns keep losing, and nobody is willing to speak up about why. How long will players pretend everything is fine while the team keeps slipping? Does staying quiet help anything? Why won't someone step up and demand changes? How long will Stefanski get to run the offense into the ground while Shedeur sits ready to help? Are the players scared to rock the boat or too loyal to a plan that clearly isn't working? At some point, someone has to put the team first and push for a real solution. If the Browns want to turn the season around, they need honesty, stronger leadership, and the right quarterback. Gabriel isn't that guy. Everyone knows it's time for Stefanski to make the move he keeps avoiding.
Browns insider Tony Grossi took to social media to raise his frustration after the game, putting it on Shedeur Sanders when instead of actually speaking about Dylan Gabriel. One person stated a QB on the roster was graded a first rounder, cough, cough. And then Browns insider Tony Grossi said by no NFL team. Shout out to Magical Way on Twitter. He says at Tony Grossi, is this you? You was the one who said Cleveland should take Shedeur.
Browns insider. Tony went online after the game and started criticizing Shedeur Sanders instead of holding Dylan Gabriel responsible for the bad performance. But here's the funny part. Tony was one of the loudest people before the draft saying Shedeur was a guaranteed top 2 pick for Cleveland. Now he suddenly flips and blames Shedeur. That sounds more like someone trying to cover his own mistakes than someone telling the truth. Meanwhile, Stefanski keeps choosing Gabriel, who still looks unprepared and can't get the offense going. Why doesn't Tony call out Gabriel? Why is Shedeur the target when he hasn't even been given a real chance? Did Stefanski influence him? Is Tony just trying to protect the coach the same way the coach protects his own decisions? If Shedeur was supposed to be the future, why isn't he on the field? And if Gabriel is truly the guy Stefanski trusts, why is the offense slow and weak every week? Both Tony and Stefanski look like they're trying to defend their own mistakes instead of fixing the problem. Fans see through this. They're tired of excuses. They want real answers, not blame shifting. Shedeur Sanders deserves a fair shot, and the Browns won't improve until Stefanski stops protecting what's failing. Will the Browns finally give Shedeur the chance he earned, or will they keep repeating the same story?